Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I'm a voice teacher. Today I'm going to be reacting to and analyzing some fan videos. So these are people who are a member of my Patreon and have submitted these videos for me to react to, so they're all okay with me doing this.
The day's not over. I'm still in my bed. 'Cause sleep is the answer to the questions that float in my head. And I am not sober. And I am not well. Thought you could tell. You never could tell. Nothing but patience and nothing to lose. 'Cause you've given me nothing.
That note right there, that's an F sharp. That's above his first bridge, but you're doing it in a way that is so gentle and it's not like trying to push anything there. It's not completely flipped. And if you look at his face, that's kind of a good notifier of like how hard he's working. It looks like he's not working hard at all. I would love to see a little bit more engagement with your face through this song just to show like what it means to you and everything, because right now I really am just getting this ease to the point of it almost looking boring to you. But I don't hear that. But people listen with their eyes, and so we need to just make sure that whatever you're doing physically with your performing is matching what you're doing with your voice. I also love you went up to the B and it's still connected. It's not forceful though. So there's a lot of really good things that you're doing with vocal technique right now. I would, on that side of things, like to see you starting to add in a little bit more depth to the sound. What you're doing right now I think is perfect for like emo music and for the kind of music that you're doing with just a guitar and everything, but just mostly for selfish reasons, I want to see how kind of far we can start pushing the sound. Not pushing, but just letting it grow into something that's different and more full and more versatile, where the sounds that you're using right now are working really well for, I think, the genre that you're singing in, but you know, I'm not sure how it would work if you went and sang like a musical theater song or something. So that's where just the value of cross-training comes in. And I think that actually working on some of those other songs, like if you worked on a musical theater or a classical piece for a little bit, you would have to focus on different things, which when you went back to this song would get you thinking about it in a slightly different way, or maybe more in tune with the performance aspect of it or something. It would just give it a little bit of an extra spark, where right now it just looks comfortable and easy. It is a good sound, and I'm a sucker for this kind of sound just because I think it's so efficient and because it's the kind of sound that I grew up listening to a lot, and so I like it.
In the time that it takes you to
It's got a little bit of that whininess.
excuse now for making me
Like right there, it seems like it might be a little bit disconnected, but then you use that whiny sound to bring it back into that connected place. So there's one idea of letting it become more of a mouthy sound rather than completely in your nose. Just letting it vibrate in your mouth a little bit more. And you can kind of get that by playing around with tongue position and with how open it is. And you'll kind of know it just by it feeling like it's in your mouth more than in your nose. So I think if we start just adjusting that ratio so that it's not like 90% wine, it's more like just 5% wine, so that you know what it feels like and you're reminded of it and everything is working well, but that the primary sound color is not that of just whiny emo music, but that of a big sound. And so that's all just like more selfish for me, just wanting to see what this kind of instrument is capable of, since it's handling what you're doing so well already.
It's time to grow up, face the truth.
It's connected on the way back down.
You're taking, you take. I'm starting to break, but I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll
This is
be
really good.
okay.
Go start a band if you're not in one.
Okay, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
That was great. When you went up to that last note at the end, the A flat. I think we just need to do a few more repetitions there. It looked like you were a little nervous going into it or something, and the pitch wavered a little bit, but we have proven, well, you have proven, I haven't done absolutely anything, but you have proven that you're able to make that sound and you're able to make it without it getting tense. So I think you just need to go through it a few more times just on that one line to make sure that it is not wavering in its pitch at all. It's mostly just when you started getting bigger, which is what I was saying is like the next thing that I think you should be working on is getting that bigger sound or like more of a full sound. And I heard you going toward that place. I think it's on the right tracks. You just need to repeat it more. If you start changing everything about it, I think that it might do more harm than good because there really is so much good stuff going on right now. Now you just need to tune it. Like, we're not trying to change everything. We're just trying to get whatever that feeling is to sit with whatever the right note is. And it was so close. Like, I am being unbelievably picky right now, but that's kind of what I'd work on next.
I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them again? Oh, feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along on those, what's the word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free.
Nice mix.
Wish I could be part of that world. What would I give to spend a day out of these waters? What would I pay to spend a day warm on the sand? Betcha on land they'd understand, but they don't reprimand their daughters. Bright young women, sick of swimming, ready to stand and ready to know where the people know. Ask him my questions and get some answers. What's a fire and why does it? What's the word? Burn. When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore the star up above? Out of the sea, wish I could be part of that world.
Nice. It sounds like you have this nice, easy, light mix. The lower notes, they weren't being pushed out, but I still bet that you'd be able to feel it a little bit more in your chest. It just doesn't sound like it's stuck in your head, which to me is the first indication of like good technique is, are we getting stuck in one place or another? No, you're not getting stuck in your head, which is usually what happens with songs like this. A lot of times people learn them when they are younger and it is being sung by someone with a sort of lighter voice. It's easier for Disney songs, for Disney princess songs to become light chest. I don't think we really need to emphasize like getting more chesty unless you really wanted to make the big parts even bigger. In that case, maybe getting a little bit more vibration in your chesty parts would be better. Like where it's at right now, it's working. But I think that you had a really nice pharyngeal twang when you went up above your first bridge, up to the A and the C. I think the high note in the song is the C. And that twang made it sound bigger than it actually is. So I really like that kind of sound. Also, going back to the ideas of about like a lighter chest voice, I think if we did strengthen the chest voice a little bit, you would be able to get a little bit more legato sound, which is just the Disney sound. And I think that you are right on the edge of that. And what you're doing right now is working very well. But if you were auditioning for like a Disney show and we needed to sound exactly like what people perceive Ariel to sound like, I think maybe getting a little bit more of that clarity by adding in that chestier sound, which then brings together your vocal cords at the bottom, which then lets you keep your vocal cords together as you start going higher. It's just a little adjustment, and I think that the clarity of the sound just goes up a little bit. And I'm not talking about articulation, I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm just talking about if the sound is breathy at all, it kind of throws it out of that Disney place. Those are the only real things I'm hearing, but like, again, you're good enough that I can get really picky, which is kind of fun.
The creaking of milk is still nagging since you and I way up. Oh, they say that I'm feeble with age, nagging my steps.
Like right there, that little thing that happened at the very low note, the A, that is a sound that you get when you start pulling head voice down. It's not to take away from how good you sound right now, because I do think that that lighter, headier sound is actually working well with this, but it's not going to give you as much strength, especially at the lower part of your register. Like you just saw, it kind of became a softer sound. It cracked just a teeny bit, where if we let it move a little bit more into the chest at that point, I don't think that we would have as volatile of a situation. Because cracks only come out of volatility, where there's something that's wrong. The balance between air and muscle is off, or we're using a bad vowel or something. And your vowels are beautiful. They sound very, very good. But to me, this sounds like someone who has done like a lot of choir work and has spent a lot of time up in their head and has a difficult time bringing it back down to chest. So if we were working on this song, the first thing I'd want to do is just see if we can get it chestier at the bottom, just to give you different colors to work with. Because right now, like, the color that you're using is very nice and pleasant and pretty, but it's not super versatile. So again, this is more just thinking about how I think that you would handle other songs rather than how you're actually handling this one. Because not thinking about how you'd handle other songs, this is great. Like, it sounds like you, it sounds pretty, it's on pitch. You're dynamic, you're breathing at good places because you know when you need to breathe. It does seem like you might be running out of breath a little bit sometimes, which is another thing that happens when it's like a very head dominant sound. But everything that you're doing sounds like you know how this works and how to kind of smooth the edges that aren't working as well as you might hope that they are. Like the very, very bottom part, you navigated that in a way that I don't think most people would care. It's just me being super picky, like, oh, that should be a little bit chestier. But in terms of the phrase, you just let it kind of diminuendo on the way back down. So it didn't need to be really, really big. So it's this thing of like, what do we really need to focus on? Do we focus on trying to make this performance better, or do we think about what the entire instrument is going to sound like on a bunch of other songs in the future? And I usually just default toward that. So I'm not trying to take away from like the artistic value of what this is right now.
Slower than them. My face is a well-written page.
It just sounds like you're running out of breath a little bit.
And time all alone
That's back to that A.
was the pen.
So I would just try doing that on a few different sounds to see if you can start getting your chords together, just as a test. So I would do like ah, 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 ah. That will naturally bring your chords together a little bit. It encourages some of the same stuff that happens with that yell that with a lot of people we try to get out of their voice. With your voice, I think that you can take that and that it would be a good thing. If that feels like it's too much and you start feeling like pain in your throat while you're doing that, then try doing something that is similar but just not quite as aggressive, like a squeaky hum. Every time that we come in with that squeaky sound, it shows that the chords are together. If the chords are together, we're probably going to be going more towards chest voice, because right now, just the coordination that you're using for the top stuff doesn't work as well for the bottom, so we need to reconfigure that. Show the body what it feels like to have a little bit more chord closure.
They say without
But that sounds great. Like, that's so pretty.
outside, Maggie has days
Really loose looking jaw and tongue.
that weird song. But to me, you're as fair.
I love how much space you're getting on your E vowels. Me.
Maggie, when you and I were
Good TRENTON word.
When you and I
And then there's that little flippy sound on the way up. Nice. So that little flippy sound at the end, we can use that as a stylistic thing, or we can use it as an indicator that it's not completely balanced, because it should be able to get a completely smooth sound on the way up from there. And I think that you would be able to if we just developed the feeling of holding on to chord closure a little bit more. That's ultimately all that it is. And doing that little or the will start giving you the feeling of at least knowing what it's like to hold on through some of these parts that you probably haven't practiced it like that. But all of that being said, if you took that song exactly how you did it in this video and you went and did an open mic or something, I would be super proud. Like, that sounds great. You're a good musician. All of those things are there, as well as knowing that this is kind of what we can work on to get to that next level of development. It would give you just a few more options. Like, it would give you a lot more options with heavier music and stuff, and with songs that require you to get a little bit more volume. I think that developing these things would just make you a more flexible singer. So one thing that I noticed with all three of these is that none of them are like super beginners. They're all good singers. So it begs the question, what separates someone who is a good amateur singer with someone who's more of a professional? I think there are a few things. One is confidence. Like, with all three of them, I think that if they used the exact instruments they had and they didn't change a thing about how they were singing, and they just practiced it like that and sang in front of a bunch of people and started getting the confidence to know that they're really good, I think that that alone would kind of change the perception of how we watch them. Another thing is having good producers. If you can have a really good producer who's going to record you well and mix you well and everything, I think that any of these three could sound like someone you would hear as a professional singer. So a lot of it is really just who you're able to work with, what you're able to afford. Those are kind of the main things. Like, most really good professional singers are really good, but there are a lot of really good amateur singers who are just as good, and they just have different situations. So it's an interesting thing to think about. I would love to know what you guys think. What are the main differences between an amateur singer and a professional singer? Is it more the musicianship side of things, or what? I have no idea what you guys are going to say about this, but I'm super excited to learn. If you are interested in signing up for a lesson with me, go check out my website, vocalease.net, and comment, like, subscribe, all of those things. Thank you.